All right. So we're just going to jump right in. What do you think the primary responsibility of Corporation Commission is?
Protect the ratepayers, protect the grid. So set just and reasonable rates and make sure we're not doing things that are going to jeopardize the reliability and resiliency of our utilities.
Now, utilities have lobbyists, they have attorneys, they have staff that are all working on their behalf. Ratepayers don't. Do commissioners have a responsibility to be consumer advocates?
Yes, to a very strong degree, I would agree with that. Our job is to set just and reasonable rates, so we can't be lopsided. It has to be fair and balanced, but our job is absolutely to question what the utilities are doing, make sure that it's the most appropriate thing that keeps costs down, that keeps the grid reliable. They're not, trying to pull a fast one on the consumers and things like that. So yes, our job is in part to make sure that is balanced. There is another group out there, RUCO, right, the Residential Utility Consumers Organization, that are the set up as advocates.
Now you brought up RUCO. There's been criticism of RUCO in the past in them signing off on different settlements, et cetera, that may or may not have benefited ratepayers. Is that who the commission should be relying on to protect consumers?
They're just one piece of the puzzle. They bring a lot of good to the commission as well. Sometimes they may have things that are off or that seem off to the ratepayers, but they also have a lot of financial background. They've got lawyers that can look over that, and their job is to be, again, ratepayer advocates. And sometimes there's been criticism that they're actually too good at that job, right? The utilities come back and say, holy cow, that was unreasonable. I can't believe they're even asking for that. So it's a balance, and our job as regulators is to make sure that we find that appropriate balance for both sides, but preliminarily to look out for the ratepayers.
You've mentioned the all-above approach when it comes to generation. What does that mean?
Well, that means we shouldn't be picking winners and losers in the generation of electricity, or even the sources of water. I mean, it applies to everything. What we should be doing is looking at the data, figuring out what is best for the utility, or for the ratepayers, what's best for the utility itself, and figuring out what's going to make keep the grid reliable, make the rates as low as we possibly can get them, and include all sources of generation. Part of reliability and resiliency is having a diverse portfolio.
Does that include generation that negatively affects the environment?
I believe it does, because we are not tasked with environmental standards. That's more of an ADEQ thing. For example, what is an appropriate amount of carbon in the air? It cannot be zero, because we exhale carbon. We would die. So what's the appropriate number? Until ADEQ figures that out, we don't have guidelines. So it's not our job to figure that out. Now, with that said, we are fully aware that a lot of people like the clean energy. We like clean energy. I like clean air. I like clean water. But our first and second priorities, low costs and reliability. Third priority is maybe we start looking at renewables or clean energy sources like micronuclear or solar or wind, wherever it fits appropriately that doesn't jeopardize the grid and doesn't raise costs unnecessarily.
There have been several gas leaks of faulty pipes, an explosion at one point. And Southwest Gas has admitted to ABC 15 that they don't know where all these leaky pipes are. There's been a fatal explosion in Coolidge. What do you do as a commissioner to ensure that pipes near people's homes are safe?
But the answer is you kind of have to take that case, look at it, make sure they're following the appropriate remedy plans, make sure they did the job right in the first place, and that they're not going to double charge the ratepayers. If you put the pipe in and it's bad pipe and they knew it was bad pipe when they put it in, then they don't get to recoup that when they have to replace it, right? Those are the tools that we can use. If they didn't know, well, was it a manufacturer's defect? And if it was, what's the remedy there? That's what our job is to go figure out, who should be paying for that and whether or not we pass it on to the ratepayers or not.
Current Commissioner O'Connor has asked the chair to allow discussion of voting machines. Is that an appropriate use of the commission's time?
That's a very loaded question. And the reason I say that is because there is some verbiage on the website that says that we have the ability to open up a discussion or to figure out if businesses are appropriate in Arizona. The problem is I don't think there is any legal framework for that at the commission. So, and you'll notice it hasn't been put on an agenda at this point. So, you know, I think it was probably exploratory by him. I don't know, you know, I can't speak for him. You know, of course I know him.
But for you, if you're Commissioner Myers.
I probably wouldn't have done that because I haven't, in all the years I've worked with the Corporation Commission or before the Commission, I've never seen any instance where they can look at a certain business and say, yes or no, you belong in Arizona. We are literally just a filing cabinet for paperwork. So I don't know that that's something that could be done. If somebody brought it to me, I would certainly ask questions of the legal team and whatnot to figure it out. In this case, I don't know the answer to whether that's appropriate or not because there's conflicting information right now. You know, we have a lot of stuff on our plate with regulating utilities and things like that. So I understand his urgency as to why he wants to do it because the elections are coming up and things of that nature. But I don't have a great answer for you. So.